Want to hear 25 remote work experts share their amazing strategies and processes for building successful remote work companies and remote team? We've got speakers from leading companies like Thinkific, Evergreen Profits, Dynamite Circle, and Tribe Theory, and more. Register for your free ticket now at www.remotebusinesssummit.com.
That's right, www.remotebusinesssummit.com. We'll see you there, November 18 to 22.
Woohoo! Welcome to Founders Connect podcast. We help lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage.
Did you know that approximately 45% of marriages end up in divorce and 65% of all startups fail due to founder conflicts? Well, we're here to change that.
Each week we bring you an inspiring guest and practical tips to help you with business, relationships, and sustainable living. Now let the fun begin! Hi, I'm Cindy Pham.
And I'm Anthony Chansamuth.
And we're from Founders Connect.
And today I've got with me one of my amazing friends all the way from, where are you right now, Jade?
Actually, home on the Gold Coast right now.
Okay, so this is quite rare for 2019, but we're both on the Gold Coast right now. I just came back from 2 weeks in Bali and Jade was there.
You came from my second home.
There you go. So let me give you a bit of intro as to who Jade Green is. Jade is one of our speakers on the upcoming Remote Business Summit. Jade is a transformational teacher. She's a best-selling author, global speaker, learning junkie, spiritual being, surfer, and adventurer. And Jade has built an international reputation as a hard-charging, rule-breaking serial entrepreneur and high-performance coach. She's also a certified trainer and facilitator for Mindvalley and the Genius Group, which includes Entrepreneur Resorts and Entrepreneurs Institute, and GeniusU, which we'll be talking about in a moment. So she's able to combine world-class content and methodologies with 2 decades of experience building businesses. Jade's also totally rocking it with personal branding and building a massive following on LinkedIn. How many followers have you got right now?
I have just got 25,500, but my assistant's on a mission to delete some.
Time to prune. But awesome. Okay, so let's jump into that. So before we get into what you're doing right now, how did you get started on this path? Because there's a lot of, you're combining the spiritual with the business, with your personal mission of really just helping fast growth entrepreneurs and businesses to, engineer life and business together and make sure that's all working, because something that's happening is people are starting to burn out and business shut down and relationships that start to fail. So tell us about that, Jade.
Yeah, great place to start, because I was the epitome of the successful entrepreneur. I had the obnoxious, brightly, sparkly, bright orange sports car. I had an apartment looking at the Sydney Harbour Bridge. I had the office on Pitt Street of Sydney. I wore a pinstripe suit. I had the most sought-after investors in town. I had the husband that everyone would be lucky to have. All of the things, the Prada bags and everything. And what I found was that I was actually not happy, not fulfilled. I was burning out. I had this soul-sucking search for significance that I haven't quite overcome yet, but we're working on it. And I just thought I could out-busy everyone. I wore busy as a badge of honor. I wore sleep deprivation as a badge of honor. And I really thought that I could just out-grind, out-busy, and, seeking all of the things. Like even playing national level football, starting a football league, craziness. And I read a book called Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And Oprah's What I Know for Sure. So my mentor at the time, Jack Delosa, was like, JD, you're fucking miserable. You're working yourself to death. Something's got to give. Go read these books. And they literally changed my life. And I realized from reading What I Know for Sure that what I knew for sure was I absolutely loved being in the ocean and surfing, but I hadn't been a surfer for 17 years. I had the boards. I still even had my old trophies on my counter, but I wasn't doing anything about it. And that actually was having an effect on me because surfing is my meditation. I also realized that I'm a soul here having a human experience, and life is for living, not just for grinding. And these were my takeaways that I took from Neil Donald Walsh's book, even to the point that I had a complete panic and anxiety attack one night while having a nag from my husband, jumped up, ran to my mirror in my bathroom and wrote in red lipstick, life is a choice, it is what you choose. And I realized in that moment that if I didn't like what I was doing, definition of insanity, and you keep doing it over and over again, expecting a different outcome, then I'm the one that needs to make a change. And it was my choice to be sitting in the situation that was making me miserable. And it wasn't anyone else's fault but my own. So that was confronting, kind of set me into a tailspin. I was approaching burnout, and it took a while to then get divorced. And then I started living a little bit more. But I realized that I was building a business based on the shoulds. We should do this. And, because I am an amazing recruiter and won all these awards and accolades, and people tell me I'm the best sales recruiter in Australia, that I should keep doing this business. That's what I'm good at. The thing is, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do it. I allowed myself to be should all over, and I wasn't happy. So I made a really tough decision after reading Mission's book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, to start making some changes. And long story short, I decided to sell everything in Sydney, close my recruitment firm, walk away from the investors, and start on my spiritual journey, which led me to going to Mindvalley University in Barcelona. There's a whole story about how I manifested being able to convince Vision to license me as a Mindvalley certified trainer here in Australia, but also in Indonesia. And then picking who I really wanted to work with in business, being Roger James Hamilton and some of those tools, and then how I brought that into my life. So I kind of said I was going on a sabbatical for a year to go and gather the knowledge from the people that I felt were the pinnacle in those different areas, so spirituality and business, and reframe myself and then integrate the 2 decades of business experience I had with those frameworks so that I can help other busy business owners to realize that we're souls here having a human experience, to stop just grinding, to start living, and to stop the soul-sucking search for significance, and really build businesses that serve us actually living the experience we want to have while we're walking around in this timeline and in this, in this meat suit while we're here doing this one. Like, let's give it what it wants.
That's amazing. And there's so much in there that we can unpack. I want to sort of narrow in on the experience of making that courageous decision to take a sabbatical, to leave what on the outside looked like everything's working amazing, right? So everyone's going, you've got investors, you've got awesome team, you're building this, you become the number one recruiter in Australia, all these things are happening. So, if you had a badge for every yes that was happening at that time, like you'd have a whole dress, right? So tell me about what psychologically and emotionally you're going through when you kind of read Vision's book or you're listening to Donald Walsh, and what were other people on the outside saying when you then decided, hey, I'm going to give that up and do what my heart says?
I was really lucky that I had a couple of, I had a group of people around me that were also very supportive, and they had started their journeys. So they'd read the books as well. And so they were like, don't keep this for us. Like was what my investors were saying, like you need to do what makes you happy. And one of my other really good friends, Shuey, he's like, you need to read Ego is the Enemy, or like now. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you say I've got an ego. Oh my God, I don't have an ego. He goes, no, ego is driving your need to stay in Sydney and to keep your recruitment business, even though you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You're trying to use a recruitment firm to teach businesses to be conscious and how to build culture and how to scale and stuff, but they just want to pay you for recruitment, and you're like pushing shit uphill, and it's your ego that's keeping you doing that. And I was like, oh shit, you're right. Because what am I if I'm not my own recruitment firm? What am I if I am not this award-winning entrepreneur? What am I if I'm not married? Like I've been with my partner for 13 years. Like, who am I? And so there was a bit of mess going on then, because that real like, who am I? So that like, imagine like sitting on the floor, snot pouring out of my nose, uncontrollably crying, supposed to be going to the races with my friend for his birthday. And he walks in and he's like, what's going on there? And I'm like, oh, and he's like, oh, honey, you, wow. And there's literally snot pouring out.
You are listening to the Founders Connect podcast, helping lifestyle entrepreneurs to grow their business online and create a happier marriage. Now back to the show.
And there was crazy going out, drinking to numb myself, throwing myself in, then going, that's not a really good idea. So going the opposite way and being addicted to sport and throwing myself into sport and getting every injury under the sun and not listening to the universe. And it's like, It's like, here, we're going to smash your ankle, rip the ligament off the bone, so you maybe stop. Nah, I'll just wear the moon boot everywhere. It's fine. Like, oh, you got 2 black eyes. I can still see clients. It's fine. And not listening to those signs, it was messy and it was really hard. And it was, I can't tell you the exact point. I think the exact point that I was really like, okay, I need to listen was when I read Ego is the Enemy and realized it was my ego driving my behavior. Was
there a specific sentence or phrase or chapter that kind of resonated with you?
I can't think of one specific one right now because I tell you what, when I read it, life was a bit of a blur. Like I was sleeping maybe 2 hours a night. So I was like sleep deprivation and just running on fumes. But it was really the essence of that book. And maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe it was my friend saying this and then I read the book and then realizing it. But also, to be honest, that combined with Vishen's book and reading about rules, the bullshit rules of society, and how we take on the programming and allow that to shape our decisions. And when we make means goals instead of ends goals, that's probably where the shift really happens. So that's the book that I definitely suggest everyone reads. And it's the reason why I'm a certified trainer and actually running 2 seminars next month.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely love that. So now that sort of segues into this topic that you're going to be talking about on the summit, which is how to discover your natural flow for building wealth. And there's a system that you mentioned, Roger Hamilton. He developed called Wealth Dynamics, and there's talent dynamics, and there's other things that come from that. You're a certified flow consultant and more. And so can you tell us, first of all, why is that, like finding your flow, an important topic for people who are building businesses?
Okay. So the reason why I'm so passionate about this is coming from my recruitment background, right? And my mission then, and still is to be the world's largest enabler of humans that are happy at work. And that used to just be in terms of helping employees. But now I say that starts with the founders. Like, I wasn't happy at work. I was burning out. I was miserable. If we can find our flow, and not only our flow, but our team's flow, then life is just far more joyous. It's far more easy. And the money just comes to you. So it's almost in lines with the Strength Finder 2.0 stuff, right? Don't work on your weaknesses. Outsource that shit. Work on your strengths. Stay where you're most in flow, because that's not only where you're going to be most happy and joyous, but it's just going to be where you get the path of the least resistance and can bring the cash in. So I really love the profiling systems for not only making sure that you're staying in your highest, best use and not doing the shit you shouldn't do and outsourcing that to someone that's their genius, that can do it far cheaper than your hourly rate is worth, and building teams on the back of that to make sure that they're in their geniuses too.
Yeah, I'm totally resonating with that message, as you know. Tell us about the remote work revolution and what has that meant for you personally over the last few years?
Yeah, so I've been using remote workers for a really long time. Like, even in my recruitment firm, I realized that I had my team doing so much research and bogged down stuff that was out of their flow, because they're usually star profiles, which we'll learn about, and they love to be on the phones and not staring at spreadsheets. And so I started using virtual teams out of India. And that was great, but it was still a bit clunky back then. Like, we're talking like 6 years ago. And I found in the last few years that evolution has been about not just going, oh, you're going to hire someone and buy them off a website and do that. It's about now treating those teams as your team and integrating them into your culture and making sure that you're assessing their personality and profile types to fit the job, rather than just hiring someone that could do the job. Making sure they're aligned on vision, mission, and values, and running your remote team fully outsourced, even if it's just a couple of hours a week, as if it was your company here locally. And that's what makes the biggest difference.
This is a common challenge that I've been obviously talking to different remote business owners and remote workers as we're building up this summit. And I'm hearing it time and time and again. It's like, it's not about putting together just a task list and a job profile. Like, it's actually, if you want people to stick around and actually build, your vision with you, then you need to actually understand who you are as a leader, and you need to understand who the other people who are, what their profiles are and how they sort of fit together in a system, as you just mentioned here. So this goes into, you've got life engineered, you've got business engineered. These are kind of the two businesses, and they kind of work together. It's all about performance, right? And it's also, like you say, why are we wasting so much time doing things that we're not in flow with and struggling? And, and there used to be that message, go out and identify your weaknesses and spend a lot of time to try and improve those. And it's kind of like, well, that's kind of not working for a lot of people. And it took me 10 years in corporate to work that out, So that's awesome. Now you're going to be giving away a cool prize for people who show up to your talk on the summit.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Genius test and the review that you're going to do with them. What's that all about?
Yeah, beautiful. So what I'm going to offer to the listeners is a full test that identifies the 8 different profiles. So we've all got a unique genius, and we can break it up into 4 key energies, which is basically where your time should be spent. But then if we go into that detail on the 8 profiles, we can really figure out what roles we're good at, what our strengths are, and how to build the best team around you based on your genius and what roles they should be in based on their genius. So I'll give away a profile test so they can get the detail, but I will do a personal debrief with them one-on-one, and I will go through what that means, what their profile means, but more importantly, how they can leverage that to start having a path to least resistance and generating more income and more flow.
And you've already done this with some amazing clients. So what's been the feedback so far with people who've done that debrief with you, and how has it helped them in their business?
Yeah, some people are like, holy shit, I can't believe I didn't know this before, or why do I keep doing that? The core thing is it makes people feel empowered to step up into their genius and own who they are and not feel ashamed if they're not good at something. When we're not good at something, we try harder and harder to be better at it because we think other people will judge us. This empowers you to realize that you should just own your genius. And if every second you're not working in your highest best use, you're actually ripping off not only your business and your pocket, but the people you serve, right? And when you understand that, there's a fundamental shift, and then teaching them how they can find the right team so they don't waste money hiring the wrong people, and showing them that there's menial tasks that they just don't need to do, that they can be paying so much less money for to someone that loves doing it. And when you make that shift and people can then step into their power, their business 10x, it blows up. So yeah, some of my clients are like, it feels like they've gained 30, 40 hours back in their week. Wow. Because they've ditched the stuff. And one of my clients, they just hired a VA. It's costing them $250 a week, and it's saving them 25 hours a week. They can now invest in delivering on the products that they've been talking about but not had the time to do.
Yeah, and something that we don't really talk about is just the energy spent and invested, right? Like we talk about time, but if you are struggling doing, for example, your bookkeeping, which I'm terrible at, then, that energy that's being sucked away from your life force, you're not doing other things like interviewing cool people like what I'm doing here, which is in my genius zone, right? So it's really understanding that and be able to use it effectively and build around it. So that's awesome.
And that's a massive important thing, because if you get bogged down doing that stuff and it sucks your energy out, the time it takes you to regain the energy to go back into your genius is not just the time you've spent on that task that sucked your energy. There's usually about a 2-hour gap, even if you can get it back that day, to flip back into your genius to get back into flow.
Wow. Okay, cool. All right. Well, hey, jump on to the summit. Just head over to www.remotebusinesssummit.com. Grab your free ticket. Jump onto Jade's talk, which is all about how to discover your natural flow for building wealth and wealth dynamics. And also head over to Jade's website. What's the URL at the moment, Jade?
You can go to www.lifeengineered, so with an ED on the end of engineer, .academy.
Awesome. Lifeengineered.academy. I'll put that in the show notes, and make sure you catch both I and Jade on the summit, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Jade. We'll talk to you on the summit.
Thanks, Sam. Looking forward to it.
Ciao. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to live passionately,
purposefully,
and confidently. Till next time.